I hope all's well. My name is Kirsty, Crafting Kirsty, here on YouTube and on Instagram. It is Monday the 9th of December and I'm back with a knitting and crochet update. So this is my knitting and crochet podcast number 2. I hope you're well. It's been 6 weeks since I last made a video about knitting and crochet. Done quite a bit actually in those 6 weeks. It's been good fun. Most importantly, I had a weekend away in Wales with cross-stitching friends actually, but on my way there I stopped off at a yarn shop in Oswestry called the Ewe Ply, so I obviously have a haul from there to show you for later. And then John and I went walking in Wales for a couple of days, and I went to another yarn shop near Cleeve, Bristol way called Alterknituniverse, which was a lovely yarn shop. And then John and I went down to Longleat for the Longleat lights with our eldest daughter lives down there. So we went down to see her, stayed with her and went to the lights, which were great. They were very interesting. It was absolutely huge, not particularly Christmassy, but it was good to have done it. So yeah, and obviously it was nice to catch up with her and her boyfriend. Right. Did I say my name's Kirsty? I think I probably did, but if I didn't, my name's Kirsty. So, finished objects. I will show you, the first one I have to show you is the one that I'm wearing. I feel like a real pro being able to say that now. So this is Olive's vest from Knitting for Olive. And this wool I bought in Andorra this January. It is Rowan Moordale and it's a 70% wool, 30% alpaca. I've loved knitting with it, I love wearing it, just generally in love with the yarn, and I love the jumper. So I have a lot, in my podcast number 1, I've talked a lot more about this, all about the gauge and everything else. But here it is, so here is the finished object. I've done exactly as they said to do. Really like it, really like the fit of it. I did actually, that is one difference I did make, was I put decreases in from the arms downwards. I wouldn't say I did it in a very scientific method. I sort of started decreasing, tried it on, thought, oh, that'll do. So started increasing to get it back over the hips. So yes, but I'm really pleased with this. I've worn it a couple of times already. I had sort of thought, sorry, it's a bit cold here, so I'm putting the cardigan over the top. I had sort of thought it would be something you could wear a blouse underneath, but actually I don't think you can with the neck. I think it's more suitable to certainly 3/4 length sleeves and long sleeved t-shirts underneath. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with this top, very happy with it and the way it fits. So I would recommend that pattern. And it was very easy. My second finished object are some vanilla socks on magic loop, surprise. So I'd started these in the last podcast. So I follow the Vanilla Socks Magic Loop from Kay the Crazy Sock Lady. I follow her tutorial and her pattern, only I prefer my socks to be a bit longer. So I keep on sort of lengthening the leg in a very unscientific fashion, just going, oh, well, that's longer than the last one. I'll see if I have enough yarn left after it. I didn't split this ball of yarn in 2, hence the fact they're not matching, but that's absolutely fine. So this is Debbie Bliss Rialto Luxury Sock Wool, 75% superwash wool and 25% polyamide. And even though I've done a much longer leg, I think getting up to about 90 rows on the leg, I still have all of this left, which I think is about 15 or 16 grams. So that's fine. I've got another couple of balls of this sock yarn. So I should imagine I'll do a similar thing and then end up making a 4th pair with all 3 of the leftovers put into it. But yeah, it is still quite a lot to have left over for, I'm a size 6.5 to 7. So I basically do 8.5 inches along the foot from the heel before I start decreasing and doing my toes. And as I said, I've got about 80 or 90 rows here. I probably don't do as much rib as everyone else does. This is a 2x2 rib. I'm not very good at counting and keeping track. I sort of go, oh, that looks about right, as in the amount of rounds I do. So yes, so I only got those off the needle a couple of days ago, hence the fact they're sitting on these blockers. I haven't actually blocked them, I just put them on the blockers to show you on the video because I thought it looked a bit better than two rather scraggly socks hanging in the air. And then I have a third finish which wasn't even started the last time I saw you. And this is scarf number 4 from my favourite things knitwear. So this is what the scarf looks like. So it's a small scarf, one of these sort of tie around the necks, with this sort of pattern on it. So I don't know the best way to show it. And it has, and I haven't written it down, it's on my phone. It has a particular stitch for the edge, which I downloaded it thinking it was going to be very easy. And then I read, oh, with this so-and-so stitch, watch this tutorial, and my heart sank. I thought, oh, for goodness sake. Very, very easy edge stitch to do. I can't remember what it's called. Essentially, you're slipping at one end and you're picking up from the row below at the other end. So this is knit in yarn that I bought last year in Biarritz. Is that it? Yeah, I think so. And this is Katia Basic Merino Tweed, Superwash, 52% virgin wool, 48% acrylic. So that's the tag. So this I bought, we were doing a road trip around the Basque region of Spain, and we were flying in and out of Biarritz. And so by the time I got back to Biarritz, I hadn't bought any wool. And I went into the shop and it was a bit of a, I don't know, I didn't enjoy the shop. The woman sort of hovered behind me the whole time. So I ended up just grabbing 2 balls of wool and running out with it. And I sort of thought, I really just need to get something made with this. And so I made this, and actually I'm very pleased with it. And I was knitting on it the whole time thinking, what am I going to wear this with? It's basically, it's sort of a pinky beige, and then you've got these dashes of pinks, purples, golds, browns in it. But actually I've just bought a new coat this autumn. Actually, this goes very well with it, I found, once I had finished it. So I'm not very good at putting these things on. I've made the Sophie scarf, which I have worn a couple of times, actually. I've stretched it a bit more because it wasn't quite long enough. And I have worn it a couple of times. So I think the way they have it in the picture is sort of a bit like this, and tied here, and yeah, it'll loosen off, I'm sure. Or I did see somebody with it a bit sort of like this, or you could do sort of this with it. I don't know, I'm not very good at wearing them. I eventually just end up sort of putting them on and twisting them round and tying them together and blah, blah, blah. But I don't like big long scarves or shawls in front of me, but I do like something around my neck. So this does actually fit from that point of view. Yeah, I just don't look particularly elegant whilst I'm wearing. But yeah, so I'm very pleased with that. I'm even more pleased now I've finished and realised that it goes very nicely with my new jacket. So that's quite good. And I'm just pleased to have sort of used up the yarn that I bought. It's very nice yarn to work with, you know, no real love it or hate it. It was just fine. It's just fine. So I'm just going to put my cardigan back on. As I said, it's a bit chilly in here. So those are my 3 finished objects. So I'm quite pleased about those. So going on to my whips, I have a whip here that I was working on in my last podcast, which is the Peacock shirt from Lynette. And I had, I think, sort of cast this on and got probably about 1/3 of the way through the lace detail. So this is, sorry, I've got a picture here. So it will eventually, hopefully, look something like that. So I have now finished all the lace detail on it. And I think, oh, there you go, you get a better view there with the light that way. So I was talking about basically it's sort of, well, each round, the number between the repeats changes. But I was putting a stitch marker in every repeat within each round. so that if I went wrong, I could, you know, I only had to go back 1 or 2. And I was like, oh, and it's working fantastically, and yeah, it's great, and it's probably made a mistake the next time I picked it up, but fortunately I only had to go back 1 or 2. And I think I did have an issue where I sort of knitted 2 together, and I sort of basically fudged that. But I think at the moment, I obviously haven't blocked it. At the moment, I don't think, unless that is a glaring mistake, we seem to have, yeah, I don't know quite what happens there. I seem to have this little bit there. But anyway, we're just going to ignore that because the rest of it looks absolutely fine. So once I've got down and I've basically knit to the point now where I do the shoulders, cast on for the armpits, and then I'm just knitting stockinetting around down for the body, and then I'll pick up the arms. So I sort of took it off the needles at that point. I wanted to put it onto these, what are they called? Cables. They've got a special name and I can't remember what they're called. These cabley things. Anyway, I wanted to put it onto that to see how it was looking and just to check the size. Fits fine, so yeah, so I will then pick it up. I haven't worked on it for a little while because I sort of got involved in the scarf and the socks and all the rest of it. But this will now just be easy Christmas knitting, sitting down, stockinetting around. So I am very pleased with that. Well, I was very pleased with that. So I saw this, what is that? I think I do wonder if that's where I went a bit wrong. Oh well. Is it the same on this? This is the back and it has got short rows. Yeah, it's just a little bit. But anyway, surprise, surprise, I'm not going back to sort that out. Other than that, I think it looks quite good. I haven't noticed that until I hung it up. Until I put it on the camera. Oh well, it's fine. It's fine. So did I say that is being knitted in Riccolini Tricot Brown Cowl, which I bought in Portugal this year. It is 53% cotton, 47% acrylic, and it is proving to be very easy to knit with. It will just be interesting to see what it's like to wear. So, and again, there's more details on the first podcast about sizing and gauge and all the rest of it from that one. I then, only last night, I then started, and this was one of my plans, the step-by-step cardigan by Handmade by Florence. So the very first jumper that I knitted was a raglan top down, and it was a free pattern and tutorial by Handmade by Florence. So she has a YouTube channel and she's Florence Miller on Ravelry. And so I followed her pattern and her tutorial for the jumper and just found it really, really good. And I did the short row, German short rows in it and everything, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go back and do the step-by-step cardigan by her because I've never done a cardigan before. I did think this was free. And I think possibly it could be free or could be very, very cheap. I paid for it, but I think there is certain things you can put in where you only pay for 50% or whatever. Anyway, I paid for it. It wasn't out of the way. And I think for a pattern and a tutorial included, I was sort of quite happy to pay the price that was the full price. So I am using, and this is the same yarn, exactly the same yarn that I used for the initial jumper. So this is Wendy with Wool, Aran Tweed, 400 grams, 20% wool, 77% premium acrylic, 3% viscose, and I've got 400 grams of it. So I bought 2 of these from the local garden centre when I first started knitting, thinking, oh God, I don't know how much you need for a jumper. I better take 2. Well, I made my first jumper, which is a tiny, tiny bit short, but fits perfectly everywhere else. And I wear it most days when I get up in the morning. I just chuck it over the top of my pyjama top to go swimming. And I've probably still got about 1/3 of one of these balls left, if not a bit more. So I thought, well, I'll start the next one for the cardigan and then I might merge the 2 for, I don't know, a dog blanket or something. But actually, I really enjoy knitting with this yarn. It's absolutely fine. I think it was like £4, £5 for a ball, which is why I bought it thinking, well, I'll buy the really cheap stuff and then if it goes terribly wrong, I haven't wasted a whole load of money. So far, you're just going to see a whole load of balled up mess. But I've basically cast on and I'm just doing the raglan increases. Yeah, sorry, there's really not much to see here. But you see it does colour out quite nicely. It's quite nice, you know, for an easy, forgiving yarn. It's quite a nice colour, I think. I am doing, well, she doesn't have sizes, so I've gone for the F size. So the sizes are designed to fit a natural bust measurement of blah, 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 with approximately 15 centimetres of positive ease. But I think when I measured, I actually went up, so mine has got at least 20 centimetres of positive ease. But that's fine. Again, this is just going to be very much the throw on to go to the gym or sitting in the garden cardigan. It's just about knitting a cardigan to get it done. And this is finished with clean double knitted edges, so that's going to be quite interesting to try. Step-by-step cardigan is a classic raglan cardigan, perfect as one of your first knitting projects. It is knitted from the top down and the sleeves are knitted in the round. The simple design is finished with clean double knitted edges. And you know, to date, it all makes perfect sense and it's easy to follow, and you've got a tutorial to go and watch as well. And I do find, I know there's hundreds of tutorials for hundreds of different things out there. I just find, certainly with the jumper pattern and with this sweater pattern, or cardigan sweat pattern, for me, the tutorials click. So that's why I'm using it. So yeah, so that is my second big whip. This is being done on 6mm needles. It calls for 5, sorry, I'm just pressing something over here because I want to have something shown. Calls for 5.5. I just got gauge with the 6. I didn't have a 5.5. I had 5, I had 6, and I wanted to start it yesterday. And I thought, well, it doesn't matter. It's only going to be a throw-on cardigan. So I've started with 6. So, I mean, this isn't, you know, knitting off the needles. This is falling off the needles in the hurry to get done. Such a big gauge. But actually, I quite like the material it's making. It's absolutely fine. So hopefully, between this and my yellow peacock shirt, I should just have some easy knitting for over the Christmas period to just sit and knit on. My third whip, surprise, surprise, is another pair of socks that I cast on after I finished the last pair. So, again, magic loop, vanilla socks from Kay, the crazy sock lady. Now, this time I have split my ball into 2, so I am hoping to get much more of a matching pair of socks. This is what I've got so far. And this is King Cowl Footsie 4-ply. Now this is 93% acrylic and 7% PBT. So it'll be interesting to see what they're like being so much acrylic in them, because I think everything else I've used so far has been a natural yarn with a bit of acrylic put in it. So it will be interesting to see A, how these wear, and B, how hot they get. But this is the colourway Christmas Fruit, and it is lovely. It really is very nice. So those are my 3 whips, essentially: the peacock shirt, step-by-step cardigan, and the sock knitting. And then crochet. I have got a haul for knitting to show you, but I do want to talk about a crochet project I have started. I'm going to blame this on Elaine, Ewe Stitcher, who is a floss tuber who sent me a pic or sent me a link or a video, or you know, have you seen this at sort of 10 o'clock at night, which is all about mosaic crochet and this lady doing a tutorial. So then sort of an hour later, I was like, oh, I really, really want to do it. And Elaine was like, yeah, I'm in bed asleep, go away. I was like, oh God. I was like, don't send it to me at 10:30 in the evening to go, woo, look at this. Anyway, I did look at it. I haven't done much with it since, and I have now started. So the tutorial she sent me, and the lady who does the YouTube videos and the ones I watched and learnt from, is Tina Thorudotte Thorvaldsdottir. Surprisingly enough, I don't think that's how you pronounce her name, but I'm afraid that's how I said it, so apologies. So she was the lady that I initially followed the tutorial for and sort of started doing it, and I was like, okay, this is fine, I get it, I understand this. And then what I really like are basically sampler blankets. So if you're looking at mosaic crochet, you'll have a square with one pattern and it's a square with the next pattern. Yeah, so essentially it's a sampler blanket of all different patterns of mosaic crochet, but normally the background colour tends to stay the same or what have you. But I mean, if you go onto Ravelry, there are some stunning rugs, blankets, patterns out there. But I ended up choosing the Mosaic Compilation by Maud Ackerman, or Ackermans, I think probably. And within it, she references constantly back to Tina, the rest of her name, saying, you know, all basically I've learnt from her, I've now amalgamated all these patterns together. So I started looking at her blanket, and I'm sorry I haven't got a picture of it to show you. Not that you get a whole picture to see, but basically she had done a long blanket and sort of you had about, I don't know, about 10 inches of one pattern, 10 inches of the other, and blah, blah, blah. And then within her compilation, each pattern, you're given each pattern to use. So, very long-winded or waffly, sorry. So I started following just to see if I could, and I have done this so far. So, really happy with it. I get it, I understand it, I know how it works, etc, etc. Wasn't particularly happy with colours. It's just too white and a little bit too bright orange, and it's more a case of what else is this going to go with. So I then put it down, and ages ago I bought a whole load of cones. 4-ply acrylic cones, and I bought these because they were on offer, and I didn't really know what I was buying, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but they were on offer, so I bought them. So I've got about 8 of these sitting on my shelf. And I struggle to crochet holding these double. I can knit double, but I can't crochet double because I'm just always losing a thing. So I just decided to bite the bullet, and I'm going to make a blanket with a 4-ply, so it's got quite a small crochet hook on it at the moment. And essentially what I'm going to do is, so I'm doing this pattern, so this pattern is the most easily repeatable, I think, and I like the way it looks. So basically I'm going to go up, you're going to have 2 sides. One side you're going to go up, the dark grey is going to be the background, and then I've got about 3 light or 4 light colours that I will then mix going up, and then the other half, so then I will seam it down the middle or somehow join it down the middle. I've got a light grey, and I've got darker colours of a dark brown, a dark blue, I think possibly a dark, I don't know what other colours I've got. So then the light grey will be the background, and the darker colours will be the secondary colour within it. And it will just follow this pattern, whether I have sort of a strip of just plain grey to differentiate between, or whether I just swap between one lighter colour to the other colour once I've done the pattern repeat as such. I don't know, I haven't got that far yet. In fact, I haven't got very far at all. Brace yourselves there. This is what I've got to so far. So I started it because actually starting it is the hardest thing ever. Honestly, you just have to do a chain. So you chain 50, and then you just have to do a single crochet into each chain. Well, I chained 50 or however many, and then you miss 1 or 2, and then I would do a chain, and then I'd crochet into my chains. 38, 43, occasionally got to 45, 46. And my daughter was sitting next to me because I go, for God's sake, and pull it out. She said, you've only got to count to 50. What are you doing? So the first 3 rows, I find, the setup rows, I find really, really difficult. Once you've got those done, piece of cake. So easy. I'm not going to say it gets a bit intuitive. I still have to read the pattern and follow the pattern, and I'm using lots of markers, right? So basically working where my double crochets, so then I know how many double crochets in a repeat. So there we go. But yeah, so this is it. So the one half is going to be the dark grey with the light colours, and then I will do another half that will be the light grey with the dark colours, and then I will seam it, join it, something it in the middle, and that will be my blanket. And hopefully then I will have used up quite a lot of my 4-ply acrylic cones. But we shall see, because I have probably had about 3 false starts with those cones at the moment. I'll quickly show you here. I had thought, right, I'm just going to hold 2 strands together, knit squares, and make a literal patchwork blanket. So knitted together, they're absolutely fine, nice and fluffy and, you know, plump and whatnot. But actually balling it off for the amount, having 2 at the time, it was beginning to do my head in really. So I have got all of these. So these will either be turned into a bag, which I will line, or they will be turned into a dog's blanket. But yeah, so here are some of the other colours. So I've got the dark, I've got the pink, some green, and those are the only ones I've used so far. So watch this space for what these are going to turn into. And I think that is it. Well, that is it for the crochet. I've still got my scrappy blanket on the go. I haven't pulled it out, haven't done anything with it other than adding more scraps into it. I did see Alterknituniverse's new yarn pack, which is the Canal Boat yarn pack. Oh, it's lovely. It is lovely. And I very nearly went and got it, and I thought, no, you've got to use this up. So certainly if I can get my scrap blanket finished or get significant progress on this, I might allow myself to buy that next year, because I do love her. I love her charts. I love her patterns. I love the yarn, and it's really folk arty Canal Boat. It's just, it's gorgeous. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look. So that is it for works in progress. So we will now go on to my haul. I'm going to try and show you the pictures of what I've bought yarn for, but there's no guarantee this is going to work. I'm sorry, I need to get a bit of a better setup. Everything's on my phone, which I'm recording on. The iPad, which is incredibly old and no longer updates, also now appears to take about 5 days to charge. I only plugged it in about 2 hours ago, so surprise, surprise, that's no good. But I could actually put photos onto it, so I could actually. So I've got John's really old crappy computer, which literally the top's about to fall off it. But if I can get it to work, I will show you the pictures. Otherwise, you're just going to have to imagine, I'm afraid. So as I said, I went to the Ewe Ply in Oswestry. Lovely, lovely, lovely shop. I think they have a sister shop in Shrewsbury. I could be wrong, but I think it's Shrewsbury. Anyway, they do have their own yarn that they dye as well. So when I went into the shop, I know somebody in my last video sort of commented and said, oh, I love going to yarn shops, but I always walk out without having bought anything because it's almost too overwhelming, or I don't really know what I'm looking at, or excuse me. And I completely understand what you mean. And I know the first couple of times I went shopping, I just went, oh, look, pretty yarn. And so I would sort of walk out with one skein of pretty yarn that didn't fit in with anything else, didn't have enough to make a full whatever. So I do now, if I know I'm going to a yarn shop, on my Ravelry, I've got various projects, very simple hats, very simple scarves, very simple mittens, and I will try and match up. So then I'm only buying 1 or 2 skeins. And if it, if I decide I don't want to use it in the scarf, what have you, I can use it within a jumper or a cardigan somehow when I eventually try and have a go at colour work, or I can use it for the sleeves and the cuffs, whatever. So with that in mind, I went into the Ewe Ply and I thought, right, I'd like to knit myself a hat to go with my new coat. And I wanted, excuse me, sorry. I thought, right, I like the baggy hat. Is this going to work? Sorry, this is, don't use this. Ah, here we go. So can I? No, I'm not going to try and enlarge it because I'll just break the whole thing. So that is the Baggy hat by Petite Knit. So I think that looks quite simple. Hopefully it will be. So I bought, and I think I'm going to have to play around with gauge for this. The lady at the till was to say, I'm not sure, you're going to have to fiddle with your needles for this. She says it's not quite the right gauge, but you know, you could get it. I've bought number 6 organic wool and nettles from Onion Knit in this brown, which has got quite an underlying hint of, it's quite a pinky brown. So yeah, so I've got 2 skeins of that to try and make my baggy hat with, which I might well cast on fairly soon. I then bought, sorry, must I just go back to, there we go, the autumn. So I had bought some yarn in Portugal. So I bought these in Portugal, not really knowing what I was going to do with them, but thinking, well, I can use them as a bit of a fade. And I found the Autumn Tail Shawl by Ozetta, and it has, I think it's a crocheted edge around it, just very simple. I think it's probably only a single crochet, but so I was looking for an edge colour to go around these. Why is this not coming? Oh, dropped my yarn, excuse me. So this is now no longer coming up because the internet has gone kaput. Surprise, surprise. So I bought from the Ewe Ply, I bought this yellow because I thought, well, that will be quite nice to go around the edge of the shawl. And this is Shropshire Ply 2019 DK. So this is a blend of Shropshire, Romney, Sherino, Dutch Spotted, Llanwenlog, some Welsh name I'm afraid I can't pronounce. All from small flocks near us. So this is local wool to the shop of Ewe Ply, and then the lady dyes it herself. So so that is also something else I look for. If I'm going into a shop, I look for something that's either local to them or, you know, specific to them, and then see, right, can I work that into anything? So I really desperately wanted to get something like this. And then I suddenly realised that I could put this, hopefully put this with this, to make the Ozetta shawl, which doesn't seem to want to come up. Oh, come on. So, Autumn Tails, Ozetta shawl. Aha. I mean, it's a very simple pattern. I don't know why you have to see it. Come on, bring the pictures up. Just talk amongst yourselves. Weather's been shocking, hasn't it? Oh, come on, it's brought up all the details, it just hasn't brought the picture up. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, otherwise you're going to lose your chance, of which I'm sure. Oh, here we go, something's happening. Something's happening. Here we go. Yay! Right. So I'm not going to ask it to do anything else because obviously that would stress the computer out completely. But essentially, so it's a very simple garter stitch, and then you can just see, let's just see if I can bring something in on the, can you see it? So I think it looks like it's garter stitch, which is always nice and easy. And then round the very edge, which, oh, I can't get to. So I will get more professional at this in the new year. This isn't very good. I need to get another device of some sort. But essentially, around the edge of it, you've got this quite thick, it almost looks like a sort of coiled rope braid around the edge of the shawl. And that was the yarn that I bought to do that braid. So I'm hoping, I think, I'm hoping this will be enough to give me, even if it doesn't give me a big shawl, it'll give me a shawl. But yeah, this is a prime example of being in a shop without a real plan. Thinking, oh, I need to buy something, I'd like to buy something. Buying these and then sort of struggling to fit them into a pattern. I think now I've got there. And I am very pleased with that yellow. And I'm pleased that I've managed to buy something that was local. So now I'm just trying to go to, here we go, on the birthday shawl next. So the next pattern, or the next thing I bought from the shop, and I didn't realise I'd done this. So there was this lovely display of these sort of over-dyed yarns, which just gorgeous colours in them. And so I picked, this was the one that kept on calling to me. I was like, oh, yeah, I love it. Got to do something with it, got to do something with it. And I decided that I can make the birthday bash shawl with it from Cali Monster. Oh no, that's gone completely wrong now. So, let me try again. Come on, bring it up. No, I don't think you can see it. Anyway, essentially it's this, it's not a triangle, it's when it's on a funny axis, it gets narrow to wider. I can't remember what that shape is called. And you work this through it, it's slip stitches and things, you work this through it. So this is almost like it's slightly honeycomb texture looking, I suppose. But yeah, so I bought these two, thinking, oh, this will go great together. And I didn't really think much of it. And then, as I said, I was on this weekend away with my friends and I was showing them the yarn I'd bought. And I looked, oh, look, it's Knit Pro yarn. Well, I didn't know Knit Pro did yarn. I buy all their needles because I love the Knit Pro Symphony needles. That's what I always use. And it turns out this is Knit Pro Symphony. So this is called Terra. It is essentially, have I got any here with me? Oh yeah, look here. I have bought my knitting needles in yarn. I like them so much, I want to wear them as a shawl, which I hadn't realised is what I'd done. But anyway, I love this and I can't wait to see it. I initially saw this pattern, Birthday Bash, from Cali Monster, or Tina, Simply in Stitches, was talking about it as one of her projects, I think, for last year or a couple of years ago. I think she eventually decided she wasn't going to do it. And I have already started this once in the summer, but I bought completely the wrong yarn for it, just in a bit of a mad rash panic. So I stopped it and bought this instead. So this is, sorry, Knit Pro Symphony Terra. 75% superwash merino, 25% polyamide, and this is a fingering weight. Now the only issue is I might not have quite enough, but you start at the narrow end and you work your way through to the wide end. So as the lady in the shop said, you might just end up stopping 1 or 2 rows ahead of what the pattern tells you. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing that because I did start the pattern, and again, it's, you know, it's a very simple pattern once you get into it. So that is that. That is the pattern. That is what I bought for that pattern. And then, hang on, let's see if I can do something with this. So I'm sorry, you're not going to get to see that one, but I have got another pattern. I wonder if it'll bring up this one. So then I went to Alterknituniverse in Cleeve, Bristol. It's just outside of Cleeve. Really, really pretty, lovely shop, very small. You all sort of dance and jig around the table as you're sort of working your way around the shop. But it is a lovely shop and they have a lot of locally dyed yarns. She's really into, or the owner was really into sourcing locally dyed local yarns, and that she stocks a lot of those. So I went in and I bought, surprise, surprise, some sock yarn. But this isn't just sock yarn. This is recycled yarn. 100% mixed fibres upcycled from unwanted knitting machine cones. So essentially there you go, and take all the leftover machine cones off, you know, bits that aren't enough to be useful to the factories anymore or what have you. And then they ply it together, and so you get some random colours. So I bought 2, so hopefully these will make long socks. These are 50, are these 50 grams each? 50 grams each, so 1 per leg. And I've got this sort of greeny blue, which is just, yeah, so you've got one, can you see? No, that's not the way. There we go. So you can see the green's quite a lot thinner than the blue, but it's all just plied together. And you just knit it. So I will be doing some vanilla socks on Magic Loop, just for a change with that, but I'm very pleased with that. And then I was like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to do. There's so many pretty yarns there to choose from. I ended up choosing, I'm not going to take these out again. This is Pixie yarn, fingering weight. It is a superwashed blue face Leicester 80% and 20% bamboo. And I bought it in the colours Karma, which is this gorgeous sort of blues, browns, greens, purplies, just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I bought this, which is Kingfisher, bit of a theme, Kingfisher. And together I am going to do the reversible cross collar cowl from Purl Soho, which, the computer is still buffering. But essentially it's almost, you get a V at the front, but you've got one colour on the outside, one colour on the inside, but you can see it, and then obviously you can reverse it all the rest of it. And I thought those two together would be very nice. They're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to have to hold these double because this is only fingering weight and the pattern does call for DK weight. But I did do the maths, and I got the man in the shop to do the maths as well, because my maths isn't fantastic. And I should have enough. Wind it into 2. He also balled it for me, which was great. And then of course I got home and thought, well, I've got to re-ball it now anyway, because I've got to get 2 so I can hold it double. Because I'm not going to go from the inside and the outside, because I just get knots. So yes, so that will be a cowl. So lots and lots of plans, as you can see, quite a lot of haul. Sorry, it's just buffering. You're not going to get to see a photo of that. As I said, I will try to be a bit more organised in the new year when I come back. So I can show you the photos, because I know what it's like when I watch knitting videos and they say, oh, I'm going to do so and so, and they don't put a picture up. I think, oh, I'd like to see what it was. Anyway, so apologies for that. Yeah, so that's it really. Thank you very much for staying if you lasted this long. I will be back in 6 weeks' time, so I don't know quite what that takes me to. 9th of December, so middle of January really. We'll be into 2025. So if I don't see you on any of my videos in between, then I hope you have a very good Christmas, festive season, holiday time, New Year, etc, etc, etc. Okay, take care. Bye.